Hey, Jordan, how are you doing?
What's up, Doc?
I just want to give a formal introduction to my man here, Jordan Mederich. A lot of you people know him from our community. Some people know him from the Drop Funnels community. But I just wanted to personally give him an introduction here. Jordan's been, I've had the privilege of personally coaching and mentoring with Jordan for the last 120 days, if you can believe it. We've done some incredible things together. Jordan has by far done some incredible things in the community as far as built an amazing platform for online marketers with Drop Funnels. He's an award-winning Netflix specialist and has a live documentary and is well acclaimed on Amazon as well. So Jordan, thanks so much. I could go on and on for a while here, but thanks so much for coming on today.
Yeah, man, happy to do it.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your backstory. Obviously, we see you in the Drop Funnels community, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I want to know a little bit more, like, what was Jordan doing before Drop Funnels?
I try to frame that in a way that people care about, right? It's like, I always even teach my students that, no one cares about me. No one cares about you. They don't care until they have a reason to care. So I try to give this context around how it actually impacts people, right? So I had what I call my 21 jobs. That 21 jobs leading up to where I'm at now. Each experience that you have, every job that you have leads up to being where you are. And some of those are great moments. Some of those are extremely embarrassing moments. Some are in between. And so, yeah, now being the founder of Drop Funnels, really feeling a need in the marketplace, I think, has been the result of really my 21 jobs. So, man, I've been a newspaper delivery boy. I've worked as a host at a restaurant. I've been a ShamWow salesman, with the carpet and the towels and the soaks up liquid and all that kind of stuff. But each one of those things taught me something different. So being a paper boy, you had to learn to wake up early, right? To get early bird catches the worm. Being a host teaches you service, right? Even in the face of horrible clients and people treating you like trash. Being a ShamWow salesman taught me sales and sales psychology. I worked for Disney for a little bit. That's really about guiding people through an incredible experience of being a step above. And so there's 21 iterations of that each one really created where we're at now. Although, even including the film and whatnot, which was a film about addiction in Western Wisconsin. Our area is really riddled. I mean, addiction's everywhere, but pretty prevalent in our area. And so made a film about that and launched it a couple years ago. And we were able to sponsor a bunch of people into addiction recovery centers, which was pretty cool and rewarding. And it's been seen in a bunch of countries and stuff. So it's been really rewarding each step of the way. And so now, yeah, it's been cool to connect with you, Sheldon, and now to hopefully help the marketing world at large.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. So what's been your biggest takeaway already creating the Drop Funnels community? I believe it's about 6 months old. You might correct me on that as well. But what's been your biggest takeaway so far, and what's been your biggest learning moment?
Yeah, and we were talking about this before we hit the old record button, is that, I'm recognizing, and I think everyone needs to learn this at some point in the journey, is how critical it is to target the right people and to decide the person that you want to be working with. And if you don't decide, I think someone said it really kind of blatantly. They said, if you don't decide a client, the type of client you'll love, you'll wake up with the client that you hate. And if you don't make these decisions, they'll be made for you, and the market will speak for you, and your clients will speak for you. And so just having a wide open door for anyone and anyone really just brings headaches, heartache, over complications, nonstop support requests. So what we find, especially as it relates to Drop Funnels, so Drop Funnels it's a marketing platform. It's an all-in-one tool. You can build your entire brand using Drop Funnels. But we find
Which is phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, man. So a lot of people want it. They want to build a bit, but what we find is that when we get newbies, people who are just dabbling, or they're kind of part of the other funnel communities and stuff, and they're just trying so hard to get that darn 2 Comma Club plaque, right? But they don't have a business. They don't have an offer. They don't have their mindset in the right spot. They're seeing this as I just need a way to make more money, right? That newbie scarcity mindset, wealth has never, in the history of time, wealth has never been created from scarcity. You can't. You have to have a wealth begets wealth, and scarcity begets scarcity. So when people are perpetually broke, it starts in their mind about how they treat their business. Because when I'm trying so hard not to lose money, I'm not playing to win, I'm playing not to lose. And so that difference has been how we've really helped to find the right people that we want to be working with. So we will have fewer people on the Drop Funnels platform by choice, by working with people who are actual marketers. They have an offer, they know what they're doing, and they don't need us to coddle and handhold them and tell them what a headline is, right? We need people who are actually marketing. They know what the internet marketing game is all about. And those are the people that we can serve at the highest level. So my biggest lesson is to really pick who you want to serve and serve those people at the highest level.
Absolutely. And that's a great lesson for all of us that we can all take away from it. And you wrote something today that really stuck with me as well. And I'd like you to kind of maybe, wrap that up a little bit as well. And speaking on longevity, a lot of the people are instant gratification. We're in a society where we don't get it 2, 3, 5 days down the road. We're pissed off and we're out of there. But what you found is really, and I'll let you go on with it, but the longer you are, the more success you have with anything. Would you agree?
For if we're going to compare two identical people and one person gives themselves time and one doesn't, right? Or a better example would be one person who focuses on one core offer, one funnel, and one strategy versus one who does a lot of different things. This person will win all day long, period. This person who thinks having more options and more things that I'm working on gives me lots of different nets in the sea. No, you have one net. You are the net. So when you have a lot, all that means is you've got a lot of holes, way more holes than this person has. This person can sit there. You don't have it's not like fishing where it's like you have multiple lines in the water. No, you get one. You have one life. You have the same amount of time as this guy does, right? So what are you going to be focusing your time on to get the best bait on that line, so to speak, or to not have your nets full of holes that you can't possibly fill up? So I tell people, it's like, you don't deserve to go focus on multiple offers until you're at whatever the barrier is, 20 grand, 50 grand a month, because you're never going to get to 20 grand a month focusing on multiple things ever. I don't know anyone who's done that. In fact, the best entrepreneurs on the planet, they don't do multiple startups at the same time. You get something going, you focus on that for a year, minimum, you need to give yourself a year. Mm-hmm. And it's just like giving birth to a baby, right? So it's like, imagine saying, okay, I'm okay being pregnant for 3 to 5 days, and then you quit, right? It's like that baby didn't even get a chance. Just like your baby isn't going to get a chance. You're not going to, you can't win in such a short time frame. It's just such short-sighted thinking that people think it's like, you need to understand that what you feed into something feeds you back. It's almost like you are the parent and this baby or this child is being raised up. It's like, what if you adopted someone and then decided, hey, even if they were grown, like even if you bought a business from someone and they're kind of a teenager at that stage and it's your job to grow them, they could go vastly different routes based on how you steward that resource and steward the growth of that. And if we're so short-sighted, I just see it all the time, man. I saw one guy emailing, he's like, oh, I just can't do this. I just can't afford it. And I was like, wait a second. It's a couple bucks a month and you're quitting. You've been doing this for 20 days, something like that, like 2 weeks. Like successful people can't win in 2 weeks. Like people who know exactly what they're doing, they give themselves a runway to win with. Right. And so, yeah, that was, sometimes, hindsight's 20/20, because I think maybe when I was starting, I had that too. Right. But like me winning right now is a result of what I did a year ago, right? Not what I did yesterday. What I'm doing today is going to pay off a year from now, and 2 years from now, and 5 years from now. And that's the Warren Buffett compound curve, right? Look at his investments over time. You'll find 10 years of nearly no growth. I mean, compared to where he's at now, right? And then it's just like nothing for years and years and years, the same things for years. And then out of nowhere, the dude just friggin' skyrockets out of this world. So it's like, we need to have that perspective. We need to have like the long-term perspective of like, how am I holistically winning over time? So that's my thought on that.
And you dropped so many nuggets there. And one of the most powerful takeaways that I had from that, and one of the biggest lessons I've learned from you, is the power of one, right? Those who chase many rabbits don't end up with any. And those who usually chase one end up with it. And the power of one, maybe you can expand a little bit on it, Jordan, but the power of one is a concept that you really brought to light for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of an iteration of what I've learned. It's how I kind of like to explain what people need to be focusing on. They're always saying like, oh, what should I be doing? Well, here's what you do, just to simplify it. There's a rule of one, and it's 5 individual ones, right? So it's kind of, I should call it the 5-1 rule or something, give it a better name. But it's these 5 elements. You have to have all of them. You have to have all of them. And if any one of these has 2 within it, it adds complication and holes in your net. So number 1, you need to be willing to lead or show up for one customer, one client. Because if you won't show up for one, you won't show up for 100. In the same way that people say like, oh, when I become a millionaire, that's when I'll start giving. That's when I'll start tithing or being generous at that point. Like, money is an amplifier of who you are. So who you are with money now or without money now is who you'll be with money later. So if you aren't willing to show up, like when one person shows up and they buy one thing, how do you show up for that person? Because that's how you'll show up for 100 or 1,000 or 10,000. So show up for one person, one offer. You get one offer and one business to be focusing on, and you haven't earned the right. And I speak to myself because I preach this exactly. Until that business is at 10, 20, 50,000 bucks a month, right? Continually. Then that's when you could potentially consider additional offers. One funnel, you need to have one path, don't have a ton of funnels. One traffic source, you may as well pick one that you like or that you're good at and hone that one in. And then one is one routine. The last one is one routine. One thing that every day you're focused on the right actions over time, like those 5 elements combined, you focus on those singular things, all the distractions disappear, all the clarity comes to mind, and your runway is shortened, so to speak. It's like you get to take off sooner and you get to fly longer because you're focused on the one thing instead of 10 different businesses you're trying to operate.
Absolutely. And like I said, so many people I find, especially when they're starting too, they get stuck by the flashy squirrel syndrome, right? Not the squirrel that's in your backyard, but just the squirrel syndrome and that shiny syndrome. So I think it's so great that you really hone down on the one key message and one key concept, right? One core offer, one place to send them, one message, and away you go, right? It's really kind of simple when you break down the steps, isn't it?
I think if all of us were to simplify our lives, we would be a lot happier and a lot more fulfilled.
Absolutely. So I mentioned one of the questions earlier was you've obviously had success as a Netflix with movies, creating video and stuff like that as well. Wondering what is some of your key, I know you have an acronym for taking video. Can you share that acronym with us to have someone give you tips as far as taking a video?
Yeah. So I think content is really king, right? The willingness to go out and to create content, even like this content right here. So what you'll notice about even this broadcast right here is it has 4 primary things, and you can remember it as CALF, C-A-L-F. So these are the pieces of your video that really matter. So one is content, right? So the content that matters to somebody else. And so inside of that, I kind of have 3 subcategories that you can kind of frame your content around. It starts with context, content, and then call to action. So give people a reason to care. That's the context. Give them what you told them you're going to give them. That's the content, right? So 3 rules to increase the value of your 401k or whatever. And then a call to action. You need to tell them one thing that they should do to interact with you, right? So that's the content pillar. C stands for content. A is audio. Audio is an unforgivable sin, as in if your video does not have audio, is 51% of your video. So it's more than half of the value that you're bringing in. Is like people have to be, that's why when you go to like a horror movie or something and you can hear it, but you can't see what's going on, you're okay with that. But when things go quiet, you're checking your speakers, like what's going on, right? So L is lighting. You always want to have more foreground light than background light, as you can see. So I've got one, what I'd call a key light here. It's just a natural light window. I've got this backlight, which is more for ambiance or anything. But you can see right here on my head, kind of gives a nice little halo glow right there. Yeah. So lighting, you don't want to stand in front of a bright window. It's going to blow you out and you can't see it. And then framing in general is kind of one thing. You can kind of call it the rule of thirds. You'll notice how I'm framed right here is actually in what's called the rule of thirds. People can look it up on Google. But if I were to take this frame and break it into 3 here and then 3 right here, so it's kind of like a hashtag, you want the points of interest to be right there in the up in kind of these little areas here, if that makes sense. So meeting here in this area. So I would I'm putting my eye in terms of the frame right here on this focal point, or you typically put it on that kind of focal point. So content, audio, lighting, and framing. If you keep those 4 things in mind when you're shooting video, like the production quality, it's not about the quality of your camera. I could take any crappy camera, crappiest microphone, crappiest lighting setup, and still turn it into something incredible just by following those rules.
Absolutely. And I love that. Those are just quick, simple tips that you can take and anyone can use to create stunning video, right? So remember those little tips and remember those going forward. Question for you. My next question is kind of shifting gears a little bit, knowing that you're a family man, that you're a father. How do you balance, or how do you find the best balance between work and family life?
So we only have 2 currencies. We have time and we have energy, and like cash will come and go. Currency is not a currency. That's just a measurement of your value in the marketplace, right? That's what cash is. And the bigger problems you solve, the more cash you have. If you're solving no problems, you are making no money, period. Like if you're not bringing that solution. So that's a pretty easy equation. But when it comes to time and energy, if you are sick, your energy is down, you're doing nothing. You're being completely, right? So like caring for your own energy is critical. And I've got 2 boys, 4 and almost 2, and a beautiful wife. And I'm unwilling to sacrifice that for any business, period. So what do? Is I set up people, systems, and automation to let me focus on the things that really matter, to be the driver of revenue, right? To be the CEO. That is my only focus. Is like, we need revenue. That's it. You need sales, you need retention, you need a great customer journey so that when they're out there talking about you, you're famous, right? That's my job. And if I'm out there like doing admin work and that kind of stuff, I'm not stealing from like anyone but myself and my family, right? Those are all things that I should be focusing on a $10,000 task instead of a $100 task, and delegate those lower level things. They're all critical. You have to have those elements in your business. But like for me, you need to just find what you're really great at, focus on those things, delegate everything else. And then all your spare time you get to spend with your family, which is critical for me. So we've got a cabin out on a lake and we just redid our pontoon. If people follow me on Facebook, I shoot like videos and stuff from there. And I love going out there. I love fishing. That's like where I get refueled. I love being around people and that's my vibe. So like, if I want to take a day off, I literally can take a day off anytime I want. And it's not about like, hey, good for you, Jordan. It's because I've spent the last 6 years defining what I want in my own life, right? And working so hard to get to this point. And some people say, oh, great. Well, yeah, it must be easier for you. You're whatever, privileged. Or I mean, I get that. Yeah, but I've been busting my butt for so long, and helping other people to learn to do the same, that for me, it's about like those priorities, right? I don't want to be doing admin tasks or anything that's like support emails or any of that. Like, get it off your plate, because every moment you're spending wasting times on lower level things is money you're taking from your family, or take time from your family. So that time and energy balance, I think, is pretty important.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that. I've seen your videos on Facebook. I've seen your son art. Now, I've never driven one of these boats, or do you drive a boat? I'm not even too sure or whatnot, but I see your son behind the wheel.
He's
often.
4 and I don't even drive anymore. He is the captain of that ship.
So it must be pretty simple to be able to do that. If a 4-year-old can do it, I'm sure I could figure it out as well, right?
You could figure it out, yes.
Now, do you navigate a boat? Do you drive a boat? What do you do with the boat?
I don't know what the word is, but yeah, you drive it just like a steering wheel, and there's a throttle, and
Right.
it's actually pretty foolproof.
Giver, right? Now, what's one piece of advice that you'd give someone starting out brand new online, Jordan?
Man, you got to focus. You have to learn as soon as possible. It's going to be the most expensive lesson you learn, and there's no way around it because, dude, I see posts all the time from newbie people selling to newbie people, selling to newbie people. And those shiny objects about, hey, I made $100. If you want to know how I did it, comment money below and I'll send you and it's okay. They're going to sell you $100 product to teach you how to make $100 product. Do you want to be like living your life in hundreds or living your life in thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions? Because you're tripping over dollars to pick up pennies by like, ooh, I can find this little Facebook hack, or I can like, it's straight. Like, you need to be thinking about when you're diving into an online business, it is no different than your perspective needs to be for launching a brick and mortar business, except for surprise, you don't have like this huge cash outlay of $1.8 million to start a franchise like a McDonald's or something, right? It's easier. It is easier. It's faster. There's a lot of people who can really help you. You can get traffic like that. You can set up a funnel like that. You can dial things in faster than any business in the history of time. But then people are like, okay, exactly what we're talking about. It's like, I'm not going to invest in like the tools that I need to actually, it's like, okay, I'm going to have you go build this house that you want to be $1 million house. And like, I'm going to give you nails, but there's no hammer. You don't have a drill. You don't have the tools, and like, good luck, go get it. You don't have a blueprint. You don't have someone telling you what to do. Yeah. So I think, man, people just need to really have that idea that like, are you in this for the long haul, or are you just trying to make a buck? If you want to make a buck, go get a job. There's plenty of places that will hire you, even in COVID town, where there's so much opportunity out there. You can come work for me. I'll pay you to do stuff. I got plenty of stuff to do. But if you want to own the cart and be, at $100K a month, $1 million a month, or whatever, you have to look at this as like a career. This is not a side hustle. This isn't some like, I can dabble in this kind of thing. If you want a quick buck, go get a job. And if you want to truly own it and be an entrepreneur, then you have to be that person. You have to show up as that person. Mm-hmm. And that's what no one wants to hear, by the way. Not, like all the courses are like, oh, here's this hack and here's this funnel and you just send traffic to it and you make money. It's going to be done in 3 months, bro. Yeah. It'll either get shut down or removed by the person who created it or whatever.
Absolutely. And you've touched on it. And how big is mindset? Because I believe mindset is everything in this business.
Yeah. I mean, we try to sell people the chocolate and then we feed them the broccoli, right? So what people really do need to learn is an entrepreneurial mindset, right? And so like people throw that word mindset around a lot. And I think there's a lot of people who are teaching bad mindset skills, right? But you need to be like bulletproof. You need to be relentless. You need to have fortitude and longevity, as we've mentioned. Those are all mindsets. Like every day, do I wake up being willing to show up as the level 10 version of myself, or am I out there trying to find the next cut in line, the next hack? You're never going to be great off of hacks. We should make that a shirt or something. You will never achieve greatness off of hacks. So like, I was going to make that shirt because there's all like the funnel hacking stuff. I'm like, stop hacking, start building. It's like, there's no shortcut to making it. And it's like, you need to show up daily over time and extract value from mentors and coaches and courses if you need to do that. But nothing beats straight up implementation, right?
And consistency.
Nothing beats it. Yes. Just right. Doing that over time. Get leads, sell those leads something, then sell more stuff to those leads. That's business. That's how it works. That's how McDonald's works. It's how Walmart works. It's how every business exists, is that you get a lead to come in, you sell them something, then you get them to come back and buy again, hopefully for something more expensive, right?
Over and over and over again, right?
That's it. So like you were saying, like people have such a hard time with their offer. It's like, dude, pick something. Are you waiting for someone to tell you like which franchise you should? Well, which one do you want to do? Go pick something.
Go for it. Pick it. Do it.
Like throw a dartboard against a list of franchises and you'll find one that you could realistically run. It's like write up on a piece of paper all the businesses and the business models you're thinking about. If it's digital, sometimes it's like affiliate marketing, e-commerce, digital consulting, coaching, funnel building. Those, write them up on a board, the things that you've thought about doing. Literally throw a dart at the board and then go do that for 6 months. And you'll make money from it. Period. Yeah. At least you've picked a lane, like you've done something.
Absolutely, right? It baffles me how many people just don't pick a single offer and run with it, right? So many people get stuck in the perpetual circle of, and I've been here. I have to admit, I've been there before, right? And that's why we do this show. That's why I wanted to do this interview, is because I've been caught in that perpetual learning circle of learning, and never doing. And that's, unfortunately, you can learn it all in your head and know it all up here. But once you actually start to do it and implement it, that's when the actual action starts, right? It's like going to the gym and watching people work out and knowing how to work out and thinking that you put a full workout in when you've just watched some YouTube videos on it, right?
And I think that's the problem with the online space, especially now, is like there's endless amounts of training. You could spend the rest of your life being a professional procrastinator, learning, buying courses, going through all this stuff. And it's like, what people need to realize is you don't need to consume that much information to make things happen. Like I can give you a game plan in 30 minutes. I'll say, based on what you want to do, go implement this and go do this. Like you don't need, like, I think that there's some maintenance involved in terms of like maybe learning new strategies, or, hey, can someone review my stuff here? Can I get some feedback on my copy here? Or, hey, how do I make a video? Those are additional like tactical things to learn, but go out to the world and try something, right? And you don't need like you're going to run out of, it's going to be the same stuff over and over. Even everything I'm talking about here, people have probably heard elsewhere, right? Because it's the same stuff. But the biggest thing I can, share with people is like, if I can serve anyone at the highest level right now, it would be get off this video right now and go to work. Get off of Facebook, get off of YouTube, quit buying stuff that you think you need to be successful, and go build something. And you're going to screw up and it's going to suck and it's going to be hard for a little bit. And then suddenly one day you're going to wake up and be like, holy crap, I made a sale. And then you keep doing it. And then 5 days later, oh, I got another sale. Wait a second. And then there's another. What were the things that led up to those sales happening? And do more of those things. Not the more courses. You're not getting paid to take courses. Not researching tactics. You're not getting paid on tactics. You're learning what are the things that produce a result, and do more of that thing.
Absolutely. Over and over and over. Repeat, and then repeat some more, right? So
that's right.
Fantastic. I know, Jordan, we're getting close to time here. I definitely respect your time and I thank you for coming on. So one last question. I just, I really want to open it up. Anything that's really pressing on your mind that you'd like to share with the audience that maybe some value, maybe a Jordan rant, just something maybe that's on your mind that you can share with them.
You've gotten a couple of mini Jordan rants, although I try to keep them pretty short for these interviews. But, I think people can truly have whatever they want, right? It never looks like what you think it will look like. And you never get there by doing the things you think it'll take to get there. There's that book by Jim Collins, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And that's good news. It means that you get to constantly up level. And whenever I hear from people, I've got some coaching programs and some obviously drop funnels and, these like tools and resources to help people be successful. There's no difference between any of these people in terms of what they receive from me, like what they get. Some people get out there and freaking crush it. And some people are so lost in thinking that their imposter syndrome is crushing them, and they think like they've got so many screwed up issues. It's like they're self-diagnosing chaos, and it's not an accurate diagnosis. You're just like lost in the weeds. Like, oh, what's the best word to use on this page? And it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Just get out there, and you'll find just by doing it, that's how you learn and implement and win, is by doing. And I think, that big thing is like create a path to collect leads, right? Give them some free value to help them to learn more about you, right? That's an indoctrination period. Give them a free guide, give them a video, give them a free course for all I care, right? Then they come in, they've learned more about it, follow up on them and say, hey, if you really like that, you're really going to love this. Here's this $1,000 course. I've got it for $97 right now. Then the next step is like, oh, hey, by the way, I've added a bunch of email copy swipes that you can have for $37. It would cost you probably $2,000 to get them professionally written for you. Boom, you've got an upsell. Then you add another one, then another one. Then suddenly you've got a path for people to turn them into leads, into customers, and each one of those customers to buy more and more from you. And you'll never know which one of those customers, could be 1 out of 2, could be 1 out of 20, are willing and able to spend $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 with you. There's one particular individual that I won't mention the names or anything, but he just brings so much value into the marketplace, especially to me in my business, right? That I've spent probably $250,000 with him in the last year, in the last 365, actually probably more like 10 months or so, about $250,000. Actually, I know for a fact it's more than that. And every dollar I spend multiplies because he's just that. And so it's not about him. It's about how do I show up to extract that value? And when I spend money on this thing, that I get it, that I go and I make this thing happen. And so it's not, I could be in perpetual learning stage and sit there and waste money. So when people are like, oh, this didn't work for me. Okay, well, it worked for this guy. What's the difference between him and you? Nothing. You got the same thing. One person did what I told him to and the other person didn't, right? So I think people just need to decide what they want and go out and get it. If you want a dog, what do? You go to a dog breeder and you get the dog. It's like, what do you want? You want to be your own boss? Start a business, make an offer, create a path for people to buy it from you. There it is. You want a wife? Start being a cool person to go date, Like, these are just proven architectures that we just tend to overcomplicate and overthink it. So I always tell people, I'm like, turn off your brain and turn on your muscle. Meaning like stop overthinking and start acting. And you're going to screw up a ton and then you're going to find what works. And then one day it's going to click. You'll be like, I remember that interview with Jordo and Sheldon. And Jordan said, just go do it. And I did that. And now I'm winning. Now I get it, right? It's going to happen. There's that click moment for people.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest takeaways that I just took from that was the second sale is always the easiest sale.
Oh yeah.
Right?
The first sale is way harder than the second sale. Way harder. Yeah.
Absolutely. Once you bring them into your surroundings, once you bring them into your circumstance, I guess maybe that's the word I should use, right? But once you bring them into your funnel, environment, that's the word. That's even a better word, right? But once you bring them into that environment, they're bound to buy again and again and again and again, right? Who's the best person to sell weight loss programs to? Someone
people who already bought weight loss programs.
Absolutely, right? And it's the same thing with multi-level marketing. It's the same thing with affiliate marketing. It's the same thing with offers, so on and so forth, right? So, Jordo, it's been my pleasure today having you on. I thank you so much for your time. It's been great.
I'm stoked, man. I can't wait to see where you end up, and I just want to open ourselves up to whatever you need, whatever your people need. Like, people who get into action, I'm all on their side to make it happen.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jordan. Appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, bro.